Well, one of the coolest attractions in Terrebonne Parish is the Chauvin Sculpture Garden, but like many other landmarks, it was severely damaged in Hurricane Ida. Now, photojournalist Derek Waldrop talked to some residents there back in 2019 about this Louisiana treasure. Let's take a quick look.
To me, there is a kind of melancholic component to it.
Did God send him to Chauvin to build this site?
Well, this one-of-a-kind masterpiece was made by one artist, Kenny Hill, who left town decades ago, leaving his sculptures behind for the community to enjoy. The garden draws people from all over the world, getting about 10,000 visitors a year, but today it looks much different. Officials hope not for long. They want to restore it to its full glory. The sculpture garden was gifted to Nicholls State University and is maintained by Dr. Gary LaFleur, director of the Center for Bayou Studies. He showed us the damage, which was evident with the very first sculpture you come to, the White Knight, which was Kenny's very first piece.
It wasn't made for 150-mile-per-hour winds, but on the other hand, it was made so strong that it still could not be pulled away. You could either cut that rebar and start over again, maybe use something different than rebar. Rebar is good and strong, but rebar rusts and expands, and sculpture people know that that's bad. Or, you know, it bent like that. I really sort of just wish I could just bend it back. I mean, you want to try?
Let's do it.
This is Kenny Hill. This is a self-portrait. There's a bunch of self-portraits all over. In this self-portrait, Kenny was following Jesus Christ. But very similar to the White Knight, the same thing happened to Jesus. He's anchored by rebar here, and the rebar it's simply bent. You know, so we saved some of the pieces that broke off, and some of that can be glued on, but the main problem here is how we're going to get him standing again.
Where's his head?
We have it in a special place because, you know, we don't want anybody walking away with Jesus' head. From some angles, they look fine.
Right.
But now, that angel is not supposed to be bending over that much. Oh. So she needs to be straightened up as well. She's leaning over. I don't think she's really going to fall, but she also has rebar at her ankles, and it needs to be bent back.
These are all one-of-a-kind pieces. The repairs will be delicate, and there's also some other factors that need to be taken into consideration.
We're taking our time because we want it to be somebody who understands sort of like the soil here on the coast and what we're going for. But we'd also like to have somebody that's interested in the artwork as well. So we're still looking for the perfect art conservator.
There is significant damage to the sculpture garden, but it's also incredible to see the art still standing. And even in the debris, there were little glimmers of hope and some glimmers of humor to be found.
Each one of these pieces was in danger. And somehow this column fell right between the pieces. It did not damage any of these four pieces right next to it. It almost looks poetic that this piece looks like it's kind of sad that occurred. But she was holding a baby, and it kind of fell out of her arms, and these branches caught the baby and it didn't hit the ground.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's how we felt. Some of what Kenny made is kind of serious and kind of sad. But some of it is whimsical, and over there was this drunk cowboy. That guy, he might be a little bit drunk too. But we found the drunk cowboy at the bottom. He fell off, so we have him safe as well.
He fell off the wagon?
Yeah, he fell off. His bottle was still in his hand.
Some of the sculptures may be bent and battered, but the significance behind each remains intact.
There's a way in which his art really embodies the spirit of Chauvin.
There's a purity in the art here. He wasn't paid for it.
And it's kind of, in a sense, a gift to the community.
He just said, I was told to build this garden.
He worked so hard on it. I mean, he just kept making the work.
You're supposed to discover something about yourself.
Kenny leads you through the path to find salvation himself, believing, I think, that he would never get there, but you may have a chance.
That thought resonates with a lot of people right now picking up the pieces after Hurricane Ida, many of them, too, looking for salvation. Kenny abruptly left Chauvin, walked away with just the clothes on his back, never to be seen again. Maybe some of the locals have thought about doing the same.
You can see that they're doing the calculus. Everybody's worried. Everybody's sort of struggling, but I don't hear a whole lot of people saying, oh, I'm giving up and I'm moving away. You don't hear that very often.
Everyone has their own interpretation of Kenny's artwork. Life is about perspective, which is constantly evolving. Living through a natural disaster like Hurricane Ida probably changes your walk through Kenny Hill's sculpture garden. You may notice things you've never noticed before, or change your mind about what a certain piece of art represents. But eventually, just like these sculptures will be picked up and brushed off, so will the people living around them. All right, and you can check out their Facebook page, Chauvin Sculpture Garden. They are accepting donations. Dr. LaFleur said they've gotten some donations, some generous ones. They are so thankful for that. I asked him about how much he thought it was going to cost for the repair work. He said probably more than a brand new pickup truck. So there's still a long way to go. They're getting a wide variety of assessments and price ranges there. And they are still open, even though there is some damage. It's still safe to go and walk around from sunrise to sunset every single day. So again, thank you, Dr. Gary LaFleur, for showing me around.